Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right in and traveling back in time to the rolling fields of 12th century Suffolk, England. We're going to explore a mystery so bizarre, so completely out there, that people have been whispering about it for centuries. Seriously, the chronicles survive to this very day. It's essentially a medieval cold case, the absolutely wild tale of the Green Children of Woolpit.
Okay, let's dive into this. Were these two strange kids just sick, lost villagers whose plight was totally misunderstood by a highly superstitious medieval society? Or, as some theorists actually suggest, were they refugees from a lost civilization? Or maybe even visitors from another world entirely? This is one of those stories that brilliantly bridges reality and imagination, blending the actual historical record with a serious sense of the uncanny.
Section 1. Arrival at the Wolf Pits. A strange discovery. So, the story kicks off in the village of Woolpit. It's actually named after these deep pits the locals dug to trap wolves. It was right in the middle of a busy harvest season when villagers stumbled onto a completely bizarre sight. According to super detailed accounts from medieval chroniclers, guys like Ralph of Coggeshall and William of Newburgh, two children, a boy and a girl, just appeared out of nowhere near these wolf pits. They were completely alone and totally disoriented. But it was their appearance that literally stopped the villagers in their tracks. From head to toe, their skin was a distinct bright green hue. They had these strange pallid eyes. They were wearing clothes made of materials and designs absolutely nobody in the village had ever seen before. And when they tried to speak, it was in an entirely unknown language. No one had a single clue who they were, where they came from, or, honestly, what to do with them.
And this brilliantly illustrates the immediate life-or-death culture shock these kids faced once they were taken in. For days, the villagers kindly kept offering them normal food, but the children absolutely refused bread, meat, porridge, you name it. They just wouldn't touch it. It wasn't until they were shown raw beans that they finally ate, devouring them ravenously. Which, you have to admit, is a pretty unique choice for a comfort food. But here's the really interesting part. As time went on and they were gradually coaxed into eating a broader diet by the locals, their striking green hue slowly began to fade away.
Section 2. The struggle to survive. A severe culture shock.
Now, from here, their fates took heartbreakingly divergent paths. The young boy, unfortunately, just couldn't adapt. The chroniclers noted that he soon grew terribly sick. Whether it was the profound trauma of coming up to this new surface world, the abrupt shift to unfamiliar food, or just a devastating illness that he had absolutely zero immunity against, he eventually passed away. The girl, on the other hand, showed incredible resilience. She survived. Over time, she completely integrated into English society. She learned the local language, adopted their customs, lost her green tint entirely, and eventually even married a local man. She became physically indistinguishable from the rest of the villagers.
Section 3. A sunless subterranean world. The girl's testimony.
So, once the surviving girl learned enough English, she was finally able to give us a sort of witness testimony about where she actually came from. And spoiler alert, she didn't say she was from the next town over. Instead, she described this strange subterranean land where the sun never shone, a place where all the people were green, just like her and her brother. She claimed that the two of them had somehow gotten lost, wandering endlessly in the dark until they unexpectedly popped out onto the surface world near those wolf pits. It is a wildly otherworldly claim, and as you can imagine, it only deepened the mystery for everyone involved.
Section 4. Competing theories. Explaining the mystery.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is seeing how modern experts, hundreds of years later, try to actually explain this event. We've got a full spectrum of theories here, giving equal weight to grounded historical explanations and the wildly fantastical. First, there are the medical and malnutrition angles, suggesting their bizarre diet of raw beans was literally their only food source, turning their skin green from a severe vitamin deficiency. Then you've got the folklore or allegory angle. This is the idea that medieval chroniclers were using this story as a metaphor for foreigners or outsiders entering an insular community, just dressing up a mundane event with fantastical elements. And finally, we have the paranormal or alien origin theories. Let's look at a couple of these a bit closer.
Okay, so the strongest scientific explanation we have revolves around a medical condition known as chlorosis. It's a specific type of anemia that was actually super common in malnourished medieval children. And what's totally fascinating is that a severe case of this anemia can quite literally produce a greenish tint to the skin. When you combine this medical possibility with the fact that their green hue faded once they started eating normal food, well, it presents a very compelling, highly logical explanation for their strange appearance.
But on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we have theories that embrace the girl's testimony literally.
True believers in cryptozoology and the paranormal propose that these kids were exactly what they said they were, refugees from a hidden, lost civilization deep beneath the earth, completely untouched by the sun. Some even go a step further, speculating this could be an early historical encounter with alien beings. While science leans heavily toward chlorosis, you have to admit this subterranean theory perfectly aligns with the girl's own stubborn insistence about her sunless homeland.
Section 5. An enduring historical legacy. History and the uncanny.
Regardless of which theory you personally subscribe to, you have to wonder, why is the village of Woolpit still famous for this exact tale today? Honestly, what makes this story so powerful isn't just the strange look of the kids, it's how the culture reacted to something entirely unknown. The villagers' initial reaction was understandably driven by wariness and a deep, deep fear of the unknown. I mean, some literally thought the children were fairies or a divine sign, yet that fear was matched by a burning curiosity, and most importantly, it was followed by incredible empathy and patience. It took profound kindness from those 12th century villagers to slowly coax these terrified kids into eating, to care for them, and to break through their absolute terror. It's just this beautiful, fascinating snapshot of human nature colliding with the uncanny.
And really, that brings us to the emotional core of today's explainer. The story of the surviving girl is incredibly profound when you stop and think about it. Imagine the isolation she endured. A child who essentially crossed worlds, transitioning from a mysterious homeland to a society that could not even comprehend her. Ultimately, her story is a phenomenal testament to resilience, adaptation, and that deeply ingrained human instinct to survive, even when you are completely uprooted from everything familiar.
So what does this all mean? Well, it leaves us with this final provocative thought. The green children of Woolpit remind us that history is not always orderly, and it's definitely not always easy to comprehend. Does our world still contain secrets so hidden, so profound, that a simple tale from a 12th century English village can make us question the very boundaries of what is possible? Whether they were just sick, displaced kids, or literal emissaries from a world beneath our feet, the story just refuses to fit into a neat little box. It beautifully bridges the ordinary and the impossible. And it reminds us that there is always more to learn about the great mysteries of our past. Keep asking questions, keep wondering, and thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.